Oh. So, hi, Instagram. I'm Aisha, of course. This is my mother, my momager. Say hello, Mom.
Hi, Instagram.
So we are about to do a really great interview with one of my dear friends and pageant sisters, Taylor, to talk about pageant life, what it's like being a mother and daughter pageant duo. So let me see. We'll just give it a second then. I think we got it. I think that's Taylor coming.
Okay, praise the Lord. Hey,
Hey.
Yay!
I was like, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, fun. Okay, that was stressful. Okay, so thank you all for being a part of the Mamas of Miss Georgia interview. What I hope to accomplish with this is just sharing how pageantry can strengthen mother-daughter relationships in pageantry. I think, like anything, there's always pros and cons. There's always scandal and changes and rumors and gossip and everything going on in our world. But I don't think people really talk about how big of a role moms play in their daughters' pursuit of various crowns and various titles. I know my relationship with my mom was definitely like strengthened. And you just go to those vulnerable places as mothers and daughters as it is. And with putting yourself really on the front line in pageantry, sometimes you really have to dig deep with your mom and with your daughter and really go to those vulnerable places. So I just wanted to gather some mom and daughter pageant duos that I know and just interview each one kind of on what pageantry has looked like for y'all over the years. So thank y'all for being a part of it. If we could start with you guys just introducing yourselves and just kind of the bigger titles, age that you have gotten in pageantry. And I do have a series of questions for y'all. We have a mom side and a daughter side, so y'all can choose kind of who wants to go
Okay.
first.
Fun. No pressure at all. Do you want to go first, Mom, or you want me to go first?
Introducing myself?
Yes.
Well, I am Dorothy Miller, Aisha's momager.
Yeah.
Doing all the years of pageantry. Oh Lord, what did I do?
Did everything. You were my
Seamstress.
chef, my seamstress, my chauffeur.
All the meals.
Yeah.
Did a
Planner.
lot of driving.
Yeah. Project manager. You were everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Went around to get support.
Fundraising consultant.
Fundraising. Yes.
Yeah.
I did a lot of that.
Yeah. Sales executive. You were every hat possible. That's what you did. But more important than that, you were the mom, you were the lover, the caregiver, the nurturer. So that's the important part. Not that the other hats aren't important, but the nurturing and the loving part was with me every step of the way. So
I tried. I did my best.
You did. That's all we can ask for. And then of course my name is Aisha Miller, and I am Dorothy Miller's daughter, her only daughter, her youngest daughter, only daughter. And we always watched pageants when I was young, and we liked them, but I never thought about actually competing in the pageants until one of my band friends, Olivia Culpo, won. And then that kind of just sparked it for me. And I was like, well, if she can do it, she's a band nerd like I am, then I can do it. That's really what kind of started everything. And then we went on a run in my 20s, and now I'm over 30 and retired. But it was fun. It was great being Miss Georgia United States 2016. And then, of course, USOA Ms. Georgia 2020. So those were really good times. And I like being on the other side now as a director, a coach, sometimes a therapist, I feel like, in coaching sessions. So I like being on the other side for sure.
Yeah, the other side is definitely rewarding, and it's good when you get clients who like you can see your younger self in them and share your stories and kind of lessons that you learned, and just it's just nice to see like people grow and people blossom. That's definitely like rewarding on the other side.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So before we dive into our mother-daughter questions, I'm going to go off script a little bit.
Okay.
Mama Miller, we have to talk about the seamstress side of your hats and the wardrobe, because I feel like that is so ideal for a mother-daughter duo. We all know that the wardrobe in pageantry is one of the big ticket items. It's a part of the world that takes a lot of time when it comes to alterations and stoning and all of that. So I would love to know your background in wardrobe, seamstressing, and how that kind of has what that has looked like in you and Aisha's pageant journey.
Oh boy. So, well, I've been sewing pretty much all my life. Started out sewing when I was like maybe 6 or 7, making clothes for my dolls when I was coming up.
Oh, wow.
So I always had that passion for sewing. And then in high school, I had a teacher who she said that she could see something in me as far as my talent goes with sewing. And so she took me under her wing and she showed me all the little intricate details of sewing that frightened me. But she said that she could see the potential in me. And so she had me make this suit for my little nephew when I was in high school. And she took that suit around to all the teachers to show off my work.
Wow.
So it helped like give me the impetus to just keep going on, right? And so when she started doing pageants, because the dresses are so expensive,
Very expensive, yeah.
And she really doesn't like
off the rack. No,
she doesn't like off the rack. So what I would do, or what we would do, we would get a pattern, and I would create a dress from maybe
two or three
patterns.
Yeah. Put them together.
And then for the cape, the yellow cape on that one, I came up with that on my own, without a pattern or anything at all. And her coach at the time, he absolutely loved that yellow cape. Yeah. He was in love with that cape. So I get a lot of joy out of actually creating her dresses. It's just it's hard to tag her down
she was couldn't get there.
to do the try-ons.
Yes, the pinning.
If I could just get a mannequin of her to just stay with me, it would be so simple. But trying to say, hey, I need you to come for a fitting.
I hate the fittings. I do. I hate them.
She hates the fittings.
And I love fittings. I love fittings. I don't know what it is, but I just like seeing people work. And when I was a little girl, every summer, my dad would put me in sewing classes and etiquette classes. And like, I didn't like stick with it long enough. Like if my husband has a hole in his shirt, I can stitch it up. I can do like a small little blanket or pillow or something. But I've always really liked kind of those longevity home economic skills. I think it's such a lost art.
It is.
And I just love to see people work in that way. And even still today, if I'm competing and I take something to alterations, like I just watching people pin and do the sizing and watch people sketch, it's just so interesting to me, because I'm the type of person, I can't draw a straight line to save my life. So I really love to see people kind of work in that way and build things from scratch. I think it's such a skill and such a lost art.
It is. It's a lot of work, but I actually enjoy the creativity aspect of it. Yeah. But now I'm retired.
Allegedly. No.
Yes, allegedly. We'll see. So the next question that I have for both of y'all, The latest news, I guess, in the pageant world on a grander scale is the age eliminations in USA and Universe. I would love to know y'all's thoughts on that and just kind of have a small discussion around it.
I think we kind of talked about it when it
We
first
did.
came out, and you know, I think I understand. You know how there are some ideas that are really great on the whiteboard, that are really great in theory on a piece of paper when you're doing a brainstorming session, and a lot can come out of those brainstorming sessions that's good, and some not so good when put into practice. So I see the vision they have there for it, but I think when it comes to when we're in different phases of our life, I think we should definitely honor each season and space that we're in and give that its own separate thing, as opposed to trying to put everything all together. I'm all for inclusivity when it comes to certain things, but I think when it comes to honoring different seasons of our lives, like for instance, you're in a season of your life that I've never seen before. So it's hard to even compare that or even, relate in a certain way, just because I haven't been there, So I think it's best that we sort of honor that season and keep things separate for a reason.
Yeah, I agree, and I see that, and I think it sounds good on paper, but again, when something has never been put into practice, there can be a lot of hiccups.
Yeah.
And I think the USA and Universe title has been custom made for a single woman for so long that if a woman who is a wife and who is a mom were to step into that, I don't think that her reign would be as ideal as it could be, because so many things are happening for the first time. And I'm not sure if the head honcho has thought about that. I also think that the net that has been cast now, including women of any age and wives and moms, you could literally get anybody. And in that, the reign for every woman could vary so much year to year.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, a year is a very short time in one's life. And you could get 1 year a woman who's a wife and a mom and she has 7 kids, and then you could get someone who's single, and then you could literally, get someone's grandma who wins. And I think it's going to be difficult to have the branding cohesive. And I think that if a woman were to win who is a wife and a mom, then she has to go in already having a team behind her, already knowing what she wants to accomplish for her year, and just really have her branding on point. Because with it, I think for the new women in various seasons of life, you also have to decide, do I want to be the blueprint for what Miss Universe, what Miss USA looks like as a wife and as a mom? And honestly, being able to carry that burden of being the first of something. And I think it would be not the smartest thing for a woman in that season of life to depend on the system to support her for that. She already has to have a support system going into it, because it's new. And I don't think that if you put all of your eggs in one basket for the system to support you, your reign isn't going to be ideal. I'm very much so on the fence about it. I feel like if a woman who is a wife and a mom goes for this, she already has to have her stuff on point.
And to piggyback on your point, I don't know that every title holder 100% has a complete game plan in place when they come to the title. I don't think that's always the case. So yes, to your point, I think they're gonna more so really need things to be pretty much mapped out, especially to balance their own schedule with being a wife and being a mom, no matter how many kids they may have. Like, being a mom itself encompasses, I'm sure you can speak to this more than I can, but like it encompasses a lot of hats.
A lot.
So yeah, I think when they already have a planned schedule for the new brand ambassador, the new title holder, I mean, how do you then fit your family and wifely duties around that? Like, that's that's a
That
real
sounds a
challenge,
whole
and
It's
nother
I
gonna
don't.
ballgame.
change
Yeah.
because even still, just with the travel schedule of Miss USA and Miss Universe,
Mhm.
it's gonna be difficult to do that if you have a family. Even with your room and board for your year of reign, the New York and LA apartments,
Yeah.
like what woman who has a family is going to want to live there without her
Mhm.
family? And what if you get a newlywed? What if a woman gets pregnant in the middle of her year? Like
Mhm.
it just there's so many when you open it up to everybody, there are so many things that could happen in a
Mhm.
year, and it's just going to be I think it's really just gonna affect the branding in a
Mhm.
way and the relatability in a way that people may not have thought about.
I think also it I don't know, it reads pretty disingenuous to
Oh
me.
yes, oh yes.
It just it feels like one of those like really, God, I hate to say this, one of those like really cheap like cash grabs. That's
Hmm.
really how it feels to me, especially if there's not been a lot of transparency around what that
Hmm.
looks like, what sort of pathway, what sort of support system
Yeah.
will be available for, I guess, the non-traditional winner.
Hmm.
It just
And I
seems
think that's been my biggest reservation with it
Mhm.
because they've said, okay, these women can now compete, but what has not been said, and just me being type A, what my biggest concern is,
Mhm.
how does a older woman or a woman who has a family, how does that affect or winning, how does that affect the current contractual obligations and I guess perks of being Miss USA and being Miss Universe? That is what has not been said is how are you going to accommodate a woman who has a family, who has children, who may be older and may not be able to travel as much. That's what's missing from me. And to me, that's where it seems disingenuous because then it starts to sound like, okay, we'll let you compete
Mm-hmm.
for the sake of diversity,
But you're
but
not
we're
gonna
not going to let you
win.
win.
No, yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Like that's why it feels a little disingenuous to me.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I don't know. I think they're. I don't know. I think pageants have gotten to a place where a fork in the road, right? Like either
Mhm.
we adapt or we sort of like die, so to speak,
Mhm.
or we stay the same and just try and figure out ways to continue to make ourselves
Mhm.
relevant.
Mhm.
And I think they took the former
Right.
and decided to try and adapt and be as progressive as possible. But with that comes many different little forks spanning out from that pathway. Then
Mhm.
and then it becomes uncontrollable. Then and you don't know what's going
Mhm.
to happen at that point. So
Mhm.
you lose control of the vehicle and it can be an absolute nightmare. And that's how you end up on TMZ or YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Sounds about right. Yeah, it's just I think it's important that everything is not for everyone at the same
Mhm.
time. And I think that if other pageant systems who had, these other multiple age divisions where we have Mrs., where we have Miss, I think if the opportunity for just the exposure, the perks, the just contestants feeling valued, I think if that was an even playing field across the board,
Mhm.
then this wouldn't be like a problem. I think women who are married and who have children who are excited about this are excited about it for the namesake and
Mhm.
because um, like other systems are not as hot as USA and Universe, obviously,
Yeah.
but you have to think about what that looks like for you and what it looks like for your life, and then what you're going to be getting in return and the sacrifices that you're willing to make for your personal life and for your family to get there.
I've
So
had I've had a few of my clients and friends who've seen me compete all these years, like ask me, am I gonna go back and compete at Georgia USA? And I'm like,
mhm,
absolutely not.
mhm,
That was a good season then, but I'm good. I'm good being a Ms. I'm
mhm,
good over here.
yeah, and then it's just, I mean, like, and what I'm very curious to see, like, they're not changing the title. Like, you're going to still be MISS.
Yeah.
And again, it's just like that's not, if that's not the season of life that you're in. And I know for some people it matters, and for some people it doesn't. But if that's not the season of life that you're in, I just think it's not very fair to, women are already multifaceted, and I don't think that it's fair to clump us all together
Yes.
in that way. And the branding now for USA and Universe over the years has been very clear. A single, educated woman, living her best life.
Yeah.
And this is something that, takes place before you become that family woman, if that's something that you so desire. And I think that's very important in the branding and in the recruitment process. And I feel like now the line is just going to be very blurred with it.
It's messy. I'll just say that it's just messy. Once you start to peel back the layers of it, it just becomes messier and messier, and there are more questions and there are more questions. So I will have my popcorn in hand because I really want to see how this plays
It's
out.
just going to be very interesting to watch it unfold. I know there was one contestant who was like a newlywed when I don't remember what her state was. And then I'm just very interested to see for the untraditional women that do it. I'm very interested to watch it unfold and to see what their experience is going to be like, because the biggest question in my head for those women that do want to do it is, how are you going to create the mold for being the first title holder from whatever state in the system who's a wife or who's a mom?
Isn't Miss Columbia Universe, isn't she a mom?
I don't know.
She is. I think she is. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just very interested to see it all unfold. Yeah. So, but okay, so let's get to our script. So, who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay. So, for your daughter side questions, the first one, you have 6.
Okay.
In what ways has pageantry strengthened your relationship with your mom?
I think for one, I've been able to read her faces and her body language much more, much better now. That's one thing. Next thing is, I feel like we can talk about anything communication wise. And then I feel like it gives us a strong sense of commonality, so we can share that hobby together. Like it was interesting to see it sort of blossom from just being a casual observer, casual watcher of pageants, and then to, hey, I might compete, so let's think about it, let's talk about it, to you're making my evening gowns and you're my momager now. So I think that progression there by itself just speaks to our journey together as well.
Yeah, I think that's great what you mentioned about like the layers and peeling things back, and going from watching them together to now kind of, I guess, analyzing what your performance is going to be on stage. I think that's great.
Yeah. And then of course the last thing would be just like an appreciation for just having her in my life. I know that there are some ladies out there, people out there who don't have their mom there. So it just made me appreciate her that much more.
Just having someone to have that bond with. And like you said, some girls may not have family members or mothers who like even support their pageant journey, or just, may not have them in their lives in general. So it's always like an appreciative moment to have your mom there. Okay. And the next question, what is your favorite pageant memory with your mom?
Oh, favorite pageant memory. That's a good question. Favorite pageant memory.
This is one that like always stumps everyone because it's so many.
Yeah. Hmm. There are a ton. There are a ton. But I think one that I was so excited to come back and tell her was when it was my last year competing at Georgia USA, and I had on my famous yellow gown, and what's his name? Is it Kent Parham? Kent Parham came up to me because I during that weekend I had lost some more weight, so my dress was like starting to like get a little baggy. So he came up behind me. He was like, "I know you need to talk to Randall and get this fixed because this is getting, you've lost weight or whatever. You need to get this tightened up." And I was like, "He thinks Randall made this. That's so funny." And then I go backstage to the backstage seamstress, and she's like, "Oh, do you need me to call Randall to get this fixed?" And I was like, "You can call Dorothy Miller." And she's like, "Well, who's that?" I said, "That's my mom." They're like, "Hold on. Are you telling me your mom made this gown?" I said, "My mom made this gown." And so she steps back and she's like pulling it.
She's looking through the scenes.
And I was like, "My mom made this." She's like, "Well, honey, your mom is very talented." And so I was so excited to come back and tell mom, mom, everybody thought that Randall made this gown, and I was excited to tell them that Dorothy Miller made this gown.
And Mama Miller, what was that like for you? Like I'm just assuming that this is only something that you do for Aish, but have you ever thought about getting into the community in that way, or are you like, no, this is for my daughter only?
Oh, because people are too hard to satisfy. Oh my God.
I understand. I
really
understand that.
But
because I
doing
saw
it so much for her.
I saw Aisha's dress before I met you. And I mean, like everybody else, I thought, she had got it from, whatever boutique, whether it's Galore, Fit for a Queen, Flirt, whatever. And when she told me her mom, I'm like, well, like, who is your mom? Like, is she doing this for everybody? Like, what's going on? Because people are so quick to say, like, drop name who their, designer is or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. And I was just like, what? Who is she doing this for everybody? Like, where did this come from?
I thought Greg Ellenberg made one of the gowns.
I think my second year at Georgia South. Like the girls in line were like, "Oh, when did you last go to see Greg Ellenberg for your gown?" And I was like, "What?" Like, "Yeah, for your gown." And I was like, "No, my gown is not by Greg Ellenberg. It's by my mom." "Your mom made that? Are you kidding me?" Like, yeah. Okay, so funny story. So mom, you know how we talked about we combined like 1, 2, 3 different patterns, right? So my second or third year competing at Georgia South? No, third year.
It was the third year.
Because second year was the red gown.
Yeah.
So third year at Georgia South, mom made a yellow gown that was different than the one that you've seen me compete in. So this is the one that the girl asked me about Greg Ellenberg making it. Yeah. So there was like a shoulder design here. There's like some ruching here. Was there any sort of blue or teal complement on that? I don't think so.
It was on the sleeve.
The hanging sleeve part. That's right. So then for my final year at Georgia USA, we used that same gown. You took it apart.
I hated that too.
Yeah, she took it apart and then made the now famous yellow gown. So
my goodness, I love that. Oh, that is so exciting because I'm the type of person, I don't like to spend a lot of money either, and me and Aish are like similar but different in that way because she's not an off the rack girl, but I am. I will go to the rack in a heartbeat, and then like I'm like a little more simple, and I'm like a sample size. I'm just like, okay, just what you got that I can walk out of here with today. But I will spend money on like alterations, and I love looking at a dress and saying, okay, what if I add a slit to it, or what if I put more stoning into it, or even still now, I have a gown by Randall actually. It's long sleeve, and I'm thinking about cutting the sleeves off of it. So I love looking at stuff and like seeing spending like less money on it to get it off the rack, and then spending more money on alterations to zhuzh it up a little bit. So yeah, I like that.
That's an excellent idea.
That really is, yeah.
It is.
I feel like that's just like such an easy way to save money. And then like
Yeah.
like every couple of seasons, like the boutiques always have, you know, their fall sale, their spring sale. Get you a dress for $200, $300, and then, you know, look at it. What can I add to it? What can I take away? So yeah, I'll do that in a heartbeat. I'll spend like $200 on a dress and then spend like another $150 on alterations or stoning, and then it's a new dress.
That's right.
Good.
That's
So
right. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like girls get so caught up in, you know, buying the most expensive thing.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you find yourself like a good seamstress who's willing to like work with you and get creative, you have that built in. Then I feel like that's such a good, you know, process. Even still with my white Giovanni gown, I recently
Yes.
sold it, but I love it, love it, love it, love it. I think I got it from Flirt, and I got it on sale, and I wore it for so many years, like without the cape. And then I was like, you know, something is missing. It just needs something. And then I just paid for like a cape to get added to it, and it looks like a totally different dress. I
I
feel
love
like
that gown on you. I love it. I think it fits you so perfectly. Like not even just like the actual fit, but like your aura, your
and that
personality,
like
everything.
that like simple style, because this is another thing, like I'm small, so I have to be really careful about wearing the gown and not letting the gown wear me, because we all know things get magnified on stage, and I could get lost
Yeah.
if it's a
Yeah.
lot. So that simple, just like A-line style, like that's like my soft spot. If I have something that has a train, or if I got ruffles, or if I got too many cutouts,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look
Yeah.
lost. So I really have to stick with that simplicity and that style. And it just so happens that those gowns are usually the least expensive ones because they're the most simple. So I try to get like a good deal on those styles and then just kind of zhuzh it up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good idea.
That is
But
an
yeah,
excellent idea.
I feel like, you know, we've been doing this for a while, so we know. So
Yes.
we
My gosh.
got to share the secrets with the girls. Okay, so my third question for you, H, is what is your favorite thing about your mom in like everyday, just regular life? And what is your favorite thing about her, like when y'all are in pageant mode?
Everyday life, her ability to just tell it like it is. She does not sugarcoat. She just tells it exactly how it is. And you know, I appreciate that because I'm very much a what does Reese call it? A flowery talker. I'm very much a flowery talker. And he's like, can you just like cut
Get the
straight through
point.
that and just give it to me straight? And I'm just very much a well, you know, da, 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 you know. She's just nah. That's just how she is, straight to the point. And I appreciate that, you know. Now in pageant mode, I appreciate her ability to be a project manager. Like she's just very organized and keeps things exactly in line the way it's supposed to be. You know, whenever we had to drive to, is it Columbia to go see Angela? Where was that at? Is it Columbia or Charleston? Charleston. We saw my trainer back then in Charleston, and I was on a very strict diet with him, and she would pack my meals and make sure I was eating my meals on the way there and make sure I wasn't coming there like starving for the workout with him. So yeah, I definitely appreciated her ability to be super, super organized.
Very nice. Great, Mom. Okay, so we're going to take a little break because we're halfway through your questions. And we're going to jump to Mom.
Okay.
So my first question for you is, as a mom, just we know on the outside looking in, people assume, you know, how judgmental, how superficial pageants can be. And as a mom, when H came to you and was like, I want to compete, did you have any reservations about her entering this world?
Good question.
No, I had no reservations at all because whenever she says she's going to do something, I know she's going to put her whole heart into it. And I didn't doubt it at all, the process or anything. I knew that she can do it. I was behind her 110%. So.
Oh, that's so nice.
That is nice.
I know my Me and my mom have to do it at some point, but my mom was like a tomboy when she was my age. She was a track star. She was an athlete. So when I came to her and was like, I want to compete, she was like, what? What is this? So it's always nice to hear like mom say no, like and my mom wasn't like like don't do it or anything, but she was just very clueless about like the world of pageantry. I did watch them growing up, but it's not anything that we did together. So she was just like, what is this? What do you have to do? Why do you want to do it? So it's always nice to hear like the other side of that. And my next question for you is, what is your favorite thing as a mom about the pageant world and just owning the label or the identity of being a pageant mom?
I don't know that I really
might have stumped her a little
I
bit
don't
there.
know if I really own the title of the pageant mom thingy, but I don't know.
Gonna come back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I really like own the title. I
think if you're making your daughter's gowns, you are definitely a pageant mom.
Jumped right in, and whatever I saw that needed to be done, I just did it. Whether it was preparing her meals or altering a dress or driving her somewhere so she can rest.
Oh, remember you used to when I had my home workouts, you used to sometimes I just didn't feel like doing the workout, and I would do the workout downstairs, and you'd be like there checking my form. Remember that? Making sure my form was right. You remember that?
I don't know if I remember.
I remember that. I remember that. I do. Yes. Yes.
I just tried to jump in, and whenever I saw something that needed to be done, I would just do it.
Yeah, so. Just doing whatever is needed, going wherever you need to go. Yeah. And do you have a favorite pageant memory with your daughter?
There's so many.
Oh my goodness. Well, one that stands out, she was in a pageant, and she came off stage when she had the break, and she said, well, Mom, she said, I don't know if you knew it, but I was up there and there was something in my eye.
I thought about that one too.
And she said, I had to like stretch my eyes to keep from like blinking them because something was in my eye, right?
Yeah.
So we was on our way to go to the store to get her some eye drops, and she could still feel the thing in her eye. So as soon as we get to the store to get her eye drops, something gets in my eye.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. Kind of odd.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I was gonna say that earlier when she asked me this question, but I was like, but that is a very big memory for us, because I literally could not see on stage at all.
That's so crazy how like random things can happen on stage that could affect your entire performance just because you were uncomfortable or something happened. It's crazy how something can possibly affect that 30 seconds on stage. But
I told her I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell at all that she was going through that. I was
faking it real hard. Really hard. Yeah.
Yeah, that is always so crazy. All right, let's see. Would you ever compete in a pageant with your daughter? This is a question that like the moms hate.
No, I might actually do it because ever since I can remember, even at I say around 16 years old or 18, people would tell me, they would call me Miss America.
Is it something that like you ever wanted to do?
Not really, but people would just give me that name, right? My father-in-law, when I met him, he used to call me Miss America. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then the
irony of that.
Yeah, the irony.
Carried yourself like a queen.
And even now on my little part-time job that I have, when I come in, one of the ladies, she said, but there she is, Miss America. I'm like,
I love it.
I'm like, what is it that these people are seeing about me?
You just carry that spirit, and it trickled over to your daughter, and you just carry yourself with the essence of queen.
I've been hearing that a lot all my life.
That is so funny.
It is.
And your daughter is literally a pageant queen, and people
right. Yeah, and I never really been in a pageant except for one in high school, and that was so quick, and yeah, but that was just a little fruit.
High school pageant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. And typically, like when I've asked moms this question, they're like, I wouldn't compete in a pageant by myself, but they would do a mother-daughter pageant.
Yeah, I might give it some thought, actually.
I think you should go for it.
Looky there.
Make my own gown.
You could make your own gown. How about that? That's hilarious.
You already, can make your own gown. All the things that you've done for Ace, she could return the favor now. You've got a built-in coach and your daughter.
You may not like me as a coach. I don't know. I'll be hard on you.
I don't know. I might not.
I'll be hard on you.
What you ain't go a little light on me?
No, you gotta win.
Oh dear, here we go.
There's more to pageantry than winning, Ace.
I know.
There are other things. Yeah, I always think it's interesting because I'll ask this question and then like moms will like actually like start thinking about it. And I think, everybody should do a pageant.
I agree with that. Everybody should.
Yeah, at some point.
What's my saying? Life is a pageant.
Mm-hmm.
That's my saying. Life is a pageant.
Life really is a pageant.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody should do one at some point in their life. That's how I feel. It's such a soul searching personal development experience that everyone should have.
It is. 100%.
Yeah. And let's see. Oh, what pageant moment has made you the most proud of your daughter?
Oh my gosh. There's so many. It's hard to pinpoint to one.
It's got to be the last one. Because I had the flu or whatever sickness I had.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
She comes back from
Ghana
so sick.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a pageant. How soon was it after?
Like 4 days. Yeah.
I said, for sure, she's not gonna compete. She's just too sick. There's no way she's gonna compete. So I kept waiting on her to tell me, "Look, Mom, I'm just feeling too bad. I'm not gonna compete." I never heard that out of her mouth. So I'm like, she's packing. I'm like, we still going? She said, yeah, I'm still gonna compete. And I tell you, that drive up there, she was so sick.
Yeah.
I don't drive in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I'll drive until we get to like Morrow, Georgia, and then I give her the wheel. Something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm like 20 minutes from the city. I don't drive in that either.
She was so sick. She was kind of almost blacking out when she was driving. I was like, oh my God, she can't go to sleep because I can't drive in Atlanta. You got to get it together because your mama don't drive in Atlanta. She was so sick.
Yeah.
So much so when we got to the hotel, weren't you kind of like still kind of like out of it? You were so sick.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to talk to the
Sierra?
No. The people at the hotel. Remember there's something that wasn't going right at the hotel with something about the card or something like that. We had some kind of issue when we got there. But she was just so sick. I just knew she wasn't going to compete, but she never said she wasn't going to compete, and she won that pageant.
Was this USOA?
Yeah.
That state?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I remember you like saying you were sick or like you weren't feeling well. I don't agree.
And she said,
nobody believed
all
me,
the girls said, but when you're out here, you don't act like you're sick. But Sierra would make her go and lie down. And she was out. When she sent her to lie down, she was out in the hotel room.
Yeah. I was doing a lot of good acting. I tell you, a lot, because I felt horrible.
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes we just, got to pull it together because that investment of time and energy has already been made on the back
yeah,
end. So we just
I'm
gotta
gonna
see it
compete.
through.
I know you
I was
never
gonna
said you
compete.
weren't
I
gonna
was gonna
go.
compete, and I was like, well, it's out of my hands now. I'm just gonna do the best
Uh-oh.
I can. So, and then Dad couldn't make it. Dad couldn't
He
make it.
couldn't make it.
My brother couldn't make it. So it's
That
just
is
Mom
so
out in the
funny.
audience.
That's so funny. Like none of my family was there either. Hold on, let me put my charger in. None of my family was there either because I literally signed up like a week before.
I
Um,
remember, yeah.
and I was using. I actually had my heart set on winning Earth. Earth State pageant because I was Imani's first runner-up the year before. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to use USOA as like a practice pageant for Earth. Didn't tell my mom, didn't tell Corey, like didn't tell anybody I was competing. Because I was like, it's just like a practice pageant. I don't know anything about this system. Like I'm not going to win. My place, I'm not going to win. And ended up winning.
Surprise!
So I feel like that's always so funny how that turns out for us. Um, so let's see. What advice do you have for other pageant moms?
Oh Lord, the advice would be make sure you have plenty of money to compete in pageants, or have a skill to sew. Because I tell you, it saved us a ton of money by me being
I
able
can
to
imagine.
create her gowns. I think what the lady say in Atlanta, she said with the yellow with the cape, she said if you had paid,
like $2,500.
she said easily $3,000.
Yeah, yeah.
I believe
it. Can't remember her name.
Me either.
Yeah.
Cannot
She said it would have easily been over $3,000. She said you are blessed.
I believe it.
And then I would tell a mom to pageant mom to like try to manage the stress that comes along with the pageant world. Sometimes it can be stressful. Sometimes when you're sitting around, you can kind of witness things that aren't so maybe not so pleasant, because sometimes you get to actually see the mean girls. Yeah. That's actually a thing. It's real. I witnessed it a couple of times, but I try to rise above it. I don't like stay there. And yeah, but overall, the experience is. I wouldn't trade anything for the experience, for the times that we spent together and all the conversations in the car.
Oh yeah,
driving there, and all the times I had to just watch her sleep while I was driving and maneuvering all these transfer trucks. Yeah. So the time together is priceless.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give anything for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think more than anything, when you are in pageantry, kind of like as a mother-daughter duo, those conversations and that bonding time is priceless. And especially, when you're traveling and you're competing, you spend a lot of time on the road, you spend a lot of time traveling. And I know that's one of my favorite parts about like me and my mom's relationship is, you can talk forever about any and everything. And you start off talking about, your game plan for stage, and then, just about life. And then, just having these vulnerable moments with your mom, especially the ones after the competition is over, if things may not go your way and you're just kind of reevaluating and you're getting that reassurance and that love from your mom. It's just all of that is great. It's priceless.
It is. And the first thing when she didn't like win, I want to know where is she. I want to get to her because I want to, give her that support and the nurturing and the, let her know we still believe in you. We know you got this. Maybe not this pageant, but an upcoming one. It'll be your crown. So
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And I think it just shows like every girl, like even if your mom, whether your mom knows everything or nothing about pageants, like your mom is always going to ride for you. And regardless of what the outcome is, who who gets the crown, I feel like for the girls who have that relationship with their mom, for all of those mother-daughter duels, you'll know that no one will ride for you like your mom will at the end of the day, you know, when that title has already been given out. And I think that's just one of the great things about this little beauty world of ours, is that if you have nothing else, if you don't get the crown, like you still have your mom, and that's like more important than anything.
That's more important than a
More
crown.
important than everything. Yeah, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Yeah.
So, all right, Mama Miller, we got one more question for you, and then we'll finish up Aish. And that question is, how would you say pageantry has shaped you, and how do you think it has shaped your daughter?
It's actually shaped me because I've learned, even with trying to, when we were like prepping and asking questions, it's actually helped me to be able to communicate better, even in my everyday, day-to-day life. It's helped me to communicate in a positive way, where it's not always like looking at the negative, just look at the positive, where the glass is half full. So I think it's impacted me in that way. And what was the second part of the question?
How it's impacted.
Yeah, how do you think it shaped Aish?
I think it's like let her see that she could achieve anything that she actually set out to do, and to work hard, and oh Lord, the discipline and the workout routine.
The workout routine.
And the small meals to eat in order to get to this size. And it's like, oh my goodness, the discipline. And then after the pageant is over, she wants to find a burger joint because she's so hungry.
Yes.
Girl.
So, yeah.
For me it was always Waffle House. Like me and my mom would always go to Waffle House after each and every pageant.
That's a good spot.
Yeah. And at that point, I mean, it's like the only place is open.
That's true. That's true. That's
true.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I used to have you get me like was it Skittles and I had a list that I wanted immediately after the pageant. Skittles, Lifesaver, gummies,
and the
spinach dip from Cheddar's. Like I had a list.
Yeah, for me, like Waffle House was my after, and my before. I think my before was always like something small, like some crackers. And then my mom, because in my early days, I would have to perform in talent, and I sang. So this probably sounds like really bad now, but my mom would always bring me a shot of Fireball, because the cinnamon really helped my voice. And I remember when the first and only time I went to Miss Georgia, I forgot to bring my Fireball with me. And my parents, my mom drove me down and then drove back up to go to work. And then my parents drove down like maybe a night or two before finals. And I was of legal age to drink, but I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just because it was on a college campus or something, but I could not find a liquor store to save my life for a prelim to get some Fireball. And I literally had to make like a concoction of like tea and cinnamon. And I used my steamer, my dress steamer, as like a humidifier for my voice. And I told my mom, I was like, you have to bring me some Fireball because I have to be on point for the last night of the show. And she brought it to me. She brought it to my dorm. She snuck it in for me, and I won. I got a non-finalist talent award for Miss Georgia. But yeah, that was always like my thing, my before show snack. I always had to have like a shot of Fireball for talent before I went on, and it would help like my voice. Yeah.
Wow. I've heard of some different things that vocalists will do to get ready for performance, but I've not heard of a very specific one. Like I have to have a shot of
Oh
Fireball.
yeah,
I love
girl.
that.
Before every show,
And
even
Fireball
still
is
now,
rough.
if I gig or something
Yeah.
now, I have to have like a shot of Fireball or something that just has like that strong cinnamon like
Right.
herbal taste to it, because it just really helps like open me up. So. Mhm. Yeah, but I was stressing out that year because I remembered everything
Yeah.
but my little travel size of Fireball, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not gonna be able
The
to
tiny
do
ones.
this.
You know, the little
Yep,
ones. Let me get that
the
here.
little mini ones. And at that
Mama
point,
don't know.
I had to be really careful because I was competing in MAO, and
Yeah.
I mean, with the generation of girls that I competed with, I was one of the older ones. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a late bloomer in pageantry.
Mm-hmm.
So I was 21, but all of like the girls I was competing with were like 16, 17, 18. And I obviously like didn't I don't like be a bad example and be like drinking in front of them or whatever. But I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm a singer. I need something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but very, very interesting. That was my like pre-ritual first stage. Okay. So, H, we're gonna go back to your
Okay.
question. How would your pageant career be different without your mom?
Oh, I'm not sure that it would actually be a
Exists.
thing.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't think it would be.
Hmm.
Like at all. From like I don't even know if I would have even turned the TV on to watch beauty pageants. I don't know if I would have even felt like I would have the support system to
Hmm.
even compete in pageants. Yeah, I don't think it would exist, honestly, at
Hmm.
all.
Yeah, I agree. And I think for me, because what I love about my relationship with my mom is we literally had to learn like pageantry together. Like neither one of us knew anything about it. So I feel like it was very like trial and error for us. And if I had to do that by myself, I don't think I would have had the guts to do it at all. Like if I didn't have her, if I didn't have anyone. So I think this is always an interesting question because it makes you now that we've gone through it and we've seen like how big of a role our moms play and everything that they do for us, is like, would I be willing to do this without her? And I'm finding that the answer is like always no, which
Mm-hmm.
is just,
Yeah.
a testament to how, amazing and supportive moms are to begin with.
Yeah.
And let's see. Um, if you could sign your mom up for any pageant, which pageant would you sign her up for and why?
Um, that's a good
Mhm.
question. I don't know that I know the exact pageant off the top of my head, but I would definitely probably steer her towards a pageant that was really, um, really intentional in their efforts to ensure that the Ms. and the Mrs. divisions are cultivated well.
Mhm.
And the reason I say it like that is because I think a lot of pageants that do have multiple divisions, I feel like sometimes the Ms. and the Mrs. categories get like the scraps.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want her first experience in competing to be lackluster,
Yeah.
especially because I've known so many positive experiences in pageantry, and I would want her to have a similar positive experience.
Right.
So I don't know which one at the moment that I would point
Mhm.
her to, but definitely one that I had thoroughly researched before I would sign her up for it.
Yes. Only the best for mama. Yes.
No, absolutely, absolutely,
Absolutely.
And what advice would you give to the next generation of pageant girls?
Hmm. That's a great question. There are so many
Mhm.
things that I feel like I would want to say to the next generation. Um, but I would probably say think of it less as a competition